All right, here is 3.4, 3.5, part 2, multiplying, dividing fractions. Today we're just going to deal with fractions. So apparently I really want to make sure you can multiply and divide fractions. Today's key term is a factor. So it's a number that is multiplied by another number to get a product. So 2 is a factor of 6 because I can multiply it by 3 to get it. So, right, and then 3 is a factor of 6 because I could multiply it by 2 to get 6. Okay, so make sure you pause and copy that down before you continue the video. So for quotients and products of rational numbers, I just put that back up there to remind you, we just use our normal integer rules, and this works for division and multiplication. So remember, a positive with a positive make positive, negative with a negative makes a positive, negative, positive makes negative, and positive with a negative makes negative. So just put that there to remind you that even if we're dealing with fractions, we use our integer rules as well. So we have -3 times 2/5. So remember, with whole numbers, we have to put them over 1 before we can multiply. And then what's really nice about multiplying fractions, you just have to multiply across, numerator, numerator, denominator, denominator. So we get 3 times 2 is 6, but it'll be negative because they're opposite signs. And 1 times 5 is 5. And that's your answer because I don't make you change that to a mixed. So we just leave it as an improper, -6/5. So down below, opposite signs. So my final answer is going to be negative. Again, numerator, numerator. So you get 6. Denominator, denominator. You get 21. Now this one, you can see there's common factors. And so you will need to reduce. So I would reduce these by 3. And I would get -2/7. So you can multiply first and then reduce, or you can use the cross product or cross reduction. It's up to you on what you want to do. But there's our final answer, -2/7. All right, when it comes to 3 of them like this, you can do the first 2. That's how I would do it. Do the first 2. So -12/35. Then I would go and multiply it. Oh, positive. Anybody catch that I missed my double negatives? Then I would go and multiply it by -7/3. Okay. So 12 times 7 is 84. And 3 times 5 would be 15. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. Okay. And then we would need to reduce this. So I can reduce it by 3. And I can reduce it by 7. Or I can just reduce it by 21. You can do that as well. But either way, when you get there, you should get -4, off the screen, -4/5. So make sure you reduce our fractions. All right, so this is division. These are complex fractions because we have technically a fraction inside of a fraction, but this is the same thing as 7/10 divided by, right, this is just our division sign, by -1/5. So remember, we always leave the first fraction alone. We then change our division to multiplication, and we take the reciprocal of our divisor. Remember the number we're dividing by, so I would flip that over. That's what reciprocal is when we flip it over. Okay, so we take the reciprocal of our denominator, and then we multiply just like we multiplied on the last page. So 7 times -5 is -35. 10 times 1 is 10. I'm going to reduce this by 5. I'm going to get negative 7 over 2. All right, so what I want you to do is pause and try this bottom one before you watch me do it, and just see if you can do it on your own. And then once you get it done, push play and see if you got the same thing. So again, we always leave our numerator or the first one the same. So negative 5 over 8. We change our division to multiplication. And then we take the reciprocal of our denominator or our divisor. And so then we would get negative 7 over 6. And then we just multiply across. So negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 7, 35. 8 times 6, 48. And in this case, there are no common factors, so we will not need to reduce. Okay, so there is our final quotient. All right, so things to remember: multiply straight across, always reduce. Okay, and then division. We multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so here's your independent practice. We'll go over this in class and see how it went. You're going to get the answer when you go back to class. All right, that's it. See you in class.